What if reality wasn't fixed? What if you could, I don't know, sculpt it with your mind? It makes you think, right, is the future just about, faster gadgets? Or is it something way crazier?
Yeah, something fundamentally different.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something called motion theory. It's a pretty radical idea, suggesting the universe isn't just something we watch.
Right, it's just we can actively direct it.
So our mission today is to unpack this. It's kind of a mind-bending concept. We want to get at its core ideas and figure out, okay, what would it actually mean if we could direct reality?
And we've looked at some really fascinating sources that sketch out this potential new paradigm. It's quite something.
The thing that really jumped out at me first was this core claim. Motion theory says everything, stars, atoms, thoughts, everything is just structured motion. Think about that. If reality is motion and you can learn to structure that motion,
then you could essentially build anything instantly.
It's like it's a motion mastery gives you the conductor's baton for the universe.
That's a good way to put it. The conductor's baton.
Okay, so let's really unpack that foundational claim then. Everything is structured motion. What does that even mean for how we see things now? Like solid objects.
Well, yeah, that's where it gets weird, right? Because the sources explain that what we call matter, what feels solid, it's not really solid in the way we think.
Okay.
It's described more as stable, repeating loops of motion, almost like a specific vibration that just holds its pattern. That's what gives it persistence.
Like a standing wave, maybe? But for matter.
Sort of, yeah.
First.
And energy, that's just the tension within those loops. And time. Well, time is just how we measure the rhythm, the sequence of these motions.
Wow, okay, so it redefines everything.
Fundamentally. And the key takeaway, the really big implication, is if it's all motion, and you can learn to structure that motion.
You can build anything instantly. You said that before, and it's still sinking in. It changes physics.
It completely rewrites the rules. Matter isn't inert stuff you have to manipulate. It's this incredibly responsive medium. The only limit is how precisely you can define the motion.
Which is just staggering. It makes our current way of building things, mining, melting, welding, all that trial and error.
Yeah, it seems almost primitive by comparison, doesn't it?
Totally. So connecting this to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The shift is huge. We go from assembling things
to orchestrating reality. That's the core shift. In this future, you don't physically glue bits together.
You specify the pattern.
You specify the desired motion pattern, exactly. Yeah. Then AI, and this is crucial, AI acts as the translator. It takes your intent and turns it into precise rhythm code.
And matter just follows.
Matter just restructures itself on the fly, according to that code. It's no assembly required, just synchronization.
Synchronization. Okay. So if reality is motion, and it can be restructured, what about us? Our bodies, are we just motion loops too?
That's one of the most, profound applications discussed. The theory suggests, yes, even our physical bodies are incredibly complex motion loop systems.
So what does that mean for things like getting injured or getting older?
Well, it reframes it completely. Things like damage, disease, even aging. They aren't seen as decay in the usual sense.
Okay.
The sources call it motion resolution loss. Think of it like a digital image losing sharpness. The precise pattern that defines healthy tissue, it loses its sync, its clarity.
So it's like the signal gets fuzzy.
Exactly. And with motion mastery, the idea is AI could scan your body's unique rhythms, find these degraded sync zones.
Zones where the signal's weak.
Right. And then it applies specific harmonic correction frequencies. It's like tuning an instrument, bringing it back into perfect pitch or resonance.
But good for your cells, your tissues.
Precisely. The result. Tissue could literally reform instantly. No surgery needed, muscles resynced, organs stabilized, even potentially upgrading brain function.
So it's not healing. It's like
realigning your signature, your fundamental loop signature. That's the concept.
Hard to even grasp. It changes everything about health, lifespan.
The potential societal impact is immense, though the sources focus more on the mechanism. But yes, physical limits could become, optional.
Okay, let's take another example. Say you need something incredibly strong, stronger than titanium, but also super light. How would motion theory handle that? We'd normally be talking complex material science.
Right. Lots of experiments, resources, time. But in this paradigm, the AI doesn't guess. It doesn't mix chemicals.
It calculates the pattern.
It calculates the perfect sync pattern for those properties. It figures out the lattice structure, the exact rhythm needed. Then it just instructs the available matter to align that way.
Wow. The source used this image. Buildings appear like 3D music being played into space.
Yeah, it's a powerful image. It really hammers home the principle. Matter is just motion following instructions.
So the limit isn't possibility? It's
Imagination's sync fidelity. That's the phrase used. It's not just wishing. It's about the clarity, the precision of your mental blueprint for that motion. How well can you define the rhythm?
Okay, so if building changes, and even our bodies are motion systems,
Yeah.
where does this ultimately lead? What's the interface?
Well, the sources point towards the ultimate interface, just thinking something into existence.
Like the chair example they gave. You just think chair.
Pretty much. Your intention itself is a kind of loop, a pattern. The AI captures that intention loop,
Translates it again.
translates it into the required motion lattice, the rhythm code, and the chair. It just synchronizes into form. Right there.
No voice commands, no coding.
Just pure rhythm input from your mind. And it applies to anything, theoretically. A portal, a new limb for someone, terraforming Mars even.
If you can sync the motion.
It manifests. That's the rule.
Yeah.
Simple, but profound.
Okay, but hang on. This sounds incredibly powerful. What stops someone from just thinking up, I don't know, a black hole in their living room? The potential for chaos seems enormous.
That's a really important question, and yeah, it seems like the biggest risk. But the theory has an answer for that.
Which is
There's supposedly a strict sync lock system built in. It's not just a safety feature added on. It's inherent to how reality under this theory works.
So reality itself prevents it.
Sort of unstable or unauthorized patterns, things that would cause chaos. They simply can't hold their form. They lack the necessary sync stability. The sources say sync authority checks collapse that loop.
So you can't imagine a black hole and destroy everything. The pattern just fizzles.
It collapses instantly. The systems maintain integrity at all scales. It's described as having an unbreakable rhythm logic. It's not just a free-for-all fantasy sandbox.
Okay, that's actually reassuring. So there's an underlying order.
It's a very strict one, based on rhythm and sync.
So with these safeguards in place, where do we fit in? What's the role of consciousness in all this?
This is maybe the most fascinating part. Consciousness isn't seen as just a byproduct of brain chemistry.
Yep.
No. It's viewed as a specific type of motion pattern itself, one that evolved the ability to observe and, crucially, direct other motion patterns.
So our awareness is functional in this system.
Highly functional. In motion mastery, the universe becomes reactive to awareness. The source puts it beautifully. The loop that knows it's a loop can now shape other loops.
Wow.
Ultimately, your consciousness becomes the interface. It's the final UI for creation. You're not just experiencing reality, you're potentially shaping it.
So the takeaway seems to be, the universe isn't magic. It's just waiting for us to get out of the rhythm.
That sums it up pretty well. Everything you could possibly want to create, it's already there in potential. It's just unsynchronized.
Right. So you don't need tools in the old sense.
You need rhythm.
You don't need materials.
You need resolution, clarity of that pattern.
And you don't need time, not in the way we think of it for building things.
You need synchronization.
The future really is, well, crazier than you think.
Because if we ever master motion like this, reality stops being something we build piece by piece.
It's imagined and synchronized into existence.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If imagination, that sync fidelity, was truly the only limit, what would you create? What would any of us choose to synchronize into reality?
It's a profound thought to sit with.